Hey everyone, it's your last chance to get in on our giveaway. Whatever the hell you want, our amazing new book and #1 Amazon new release is being officially released in just a couple short weeks. But if you pre-order it now, you could win.
We're giving away the deluxe new AirPods Max headphones. Entering is easy. Just check our show notes for details, but enter soon. The giveaway ends October 8th.
Okay, let's get into this seriously good episode.
Swimming has always been something that the Black culture can do. Trust me, I've been to the Olympics. Team Nigeria, Team South Africa. It's a problem in the US. And it starts at the family gatherings. It starts with the culture. We have to stop saying we don't swim. Yes, we do.
Cullen Jones has never paid too much attention to barriers. He's a 4-time Olympic medalist and the first African-American swimmer to hold a world record. But there were good reasons he might never have gotten into swimming at all.
Cullen's hurdles started with a near-drowning incident, followed by a rigid fear of deep water. And then it was intense racism and a deeply rooted stereotype in the US that Black people don't swim. In this episode, Cullen talks about the near-death experience that set him on the road to Olympic glory, and why getting back in the pool wasn't just about confronting fear. It was about confronting cultural beliefs that were seeded centuries ago.
Cullen also discusses his mission to make sure that every kid in every culture learns the life-saving skill of swimming.
Welcome to The Breakout, a show about smashing through life's little boxes and forging your own path. I'm Dr. Keri Ulrich.
And I'm Kelly Gunther. Keri and I are people and change experts, best friends, and business partners. We've spent more than 25 years helping employees and leaders change. With love and a lot of laughs, we're here to empower you to live life on your terms. Our methods may seem a bit unconventional, but trust us, they will change your life.
We know change can sometimes be scary. Heck, it even scares us. But staying the same can be even scarier. On The Breakout, we prove that you can escape expectations. And best of all, we show you how. All right, Cullen, we are so excited. Here we are.
Thank you for having me.
I love it. I was so excited to hear your story. Let's start at the beginning of your career journey, which is actually when you were very, very young. And in one sentence, can you describe the breakout experience that started it all for you?
In one sentence.
Okay, we'll give you 2 or 3, Cullen.
Thank you. I mean, I would say an only child that loved the water that had never learned to swim. And I believe something that can be tragic can actually be life-saving and a life-turning event. At the age of 5, my parents just wanted me to be happy. And they took me to an amusement park. They wanted me to go down a water park ride. And I was excited because I loved all things water. And I always make fun of myself and date myself by saying this, that if you threw me in the tub with He-Man and Thundercats and my Hot Wheels, I was a happy kid. That's all I needed. I needed water and those 3 things. And so my parents were like, this kid loves water. We're going to get him to an amusement park. And I followed suit with my dad. He wanted to get on the biggest ride there, but I had never had swim lessons. And I ended up going down, flipping upside down. My parents were there. Lifeguards were there. I was fully supervised, which I think is so important to the story. And I had to be resuscitated. 20 years later, I had a gold medal around my neck. So, I believe that, anything can happen.
Yeah. I mean, just breaking out, like you said, of that tragedy and flipping the script on it. And so how did it affect you at the time? Because I can't imagine you were resuscitated and then the next day you're like, you know what, Mom and Dad, I'm totally going to be an Olympic swimmer.
I'm sure you'll see as we continue to talk, I love comedy, and I was a comedian even at 5 years old, because as I was resuscitated, my dad was standing there, my mom was standing there, and the lifeguard. And they're like, Cullen, are you okay? And I woke up, I'm coughing, I'm like, yeah. What's the next ride we're getting on? Because I was 5 years old and I did not want to leave. Yes, I did not want to leave a water park. But after that, it took 5 different instructors for me to feel comfortable again near water. It stuck with me. I was cool in the shallow end, but as soon as the water started to get darker and I saw the deep end, I would have like these small panic attacks. And it took 5 different teachers. I always say to all the swimmers that I work with, no matter what the age, like I've heard every excuse. Trust me, my mom gives it to me now. My joints, my hips, get in the water. I'm not hearing it. Get in the water. But I believe that the first thing is you have to have a positive experience. And so we all have that favorite teacher. I had my favorite teacher. His name was Coach Brad. He made me comfortable around the water. I don't know what he told me. I don't know what he did. He just made me feel like I could do it. And that's something that no matter who I work with, when it comes to teaching lessons, I try to give them that positive experience because I know what that did for me.
And so how old were you by the time you got to Coach Brad?
I was about 8 years old when I finally got to Coach Brad, and it was because I was with a friend who was going to a swim meet, and she's like, just come watch me swim. And I was running track and playing basketball and gymnastics at the time. And when I saw swimming for the first time, I was like, oh yeah, I could beat that kid. I can beat that kid. Not even remembering that I nearly drowned 3 years prior, but I just got competitive. And my parents were like, if we're going to do this, you're going to see us all the way to the end. And I think I'm still kind of in it. I'm still working at Speedo and in the pool and still doing it. So I think my mom would say, yeah, she spent the money right.
So you have this tragic event, you bounce back. And so you're at 8, you meet Coach Brad. And so you had supportive parents, because some parents, Cullen, could say, oh my goodness, you'll never go in the water again. Never. Like, I'm too afraid for you.
And I've worked with amazing groups like USA Swimming Foundation and the CDC that have done so much work, University of UNLV and Memphis, that have done work around why people of color don't swim. And one of the biggest things, as you said, negative experience, fear is the number one thing. The second was parental backing. My parents could have said, nope, we're not gonna let you swim. We know now through this study that there is an 88% chance that a child will learn to swim if you have one parent that knows how to swim. Because as long as that one parent understands the safety around water, understands that it's a life skill, that they will automatically think, oh, I have to get my child to learn to swim. Thankfully, my dad kind of knew how to swim, but the driving force was my mom. She did not know how to swim. My mom said, nope, I don't know how to do it, but I'm not going to hold you back. And I'm very thankful for her.
We'll get back to the interview after this quick break.
On the Breakout, Keri and I celebrate big changes and small shifts. Only about 10% of us are really self-aware, but 90% of us think we are. Without self-awareness, change is tough. And if you don't know what box you're in, you can't break out of it. That's where we come in.
We are coaches and consultants that help you dig into change. We've spent our lives breaking through expectations, and we've devoted our careers to showing people how to do the same. We're here to help you demolish the story you've built around yourself to reveal the true you. Then the real fun begins.
And by fun, we mean helping you figure out your why and taking action to forge a fresh path. Connect with us at abrochigroup.com.
You mentioned, Cullen, about diversity in swimming. And so what are some of the challenges for being a Black swimmer?
Growing up, I dealt with a lot. I was about 14 years old when I stopped getting the pink and purple ribbon. Ladies, that's 6th and 7th place for Elizabeth County.
Yeah, I'm surely not an athlete, so I don't know any ribbon color whatsoever.
Yeah. Pink and purple were they were all over my room. So I finally got the blue ribbon, the first place.
That's the first place. Okay, good to know.
That's the first place. Yeah. So I was very excited. My dad wanted me to play basketball. I'm running up to him excited, and he's just had so much joy on his face because he saw how happy I was, and I trained for it. I worked hard, which is ultimately what every parent wants, especially out of any athlete. Like, you see the sacrifice, you see the work that they're putting into it. And then when they finally do it, they get that breakthrough. Well, mine, I ran up the stairs, I'm running to hug him, and I hug my dad and I hug my mom. and they're just elated. And right behind me, a lady walks up and says, "What is he even doing here? Shouldn't he be playing basketball?" And you don't really know my mom, but she took one step. My dad's like, "You get back here. You get back here." So my mom was always, she's my ride or die, no matter what. My mom's always in my corner, and she always was. And when she heard that, and it was already hard being the only Black family really in the stands at that time, my dad said to me, "Do you know why that mom just said that?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Because you were okay when you were getting the pink and the purple ribbon, 6th and 7th place. You knew your place. But when you won, you beat her son. That's when you didn't know your place." And he's like, "Don't you ever let anyone stop you." And it changed my life. And at that age, that's when I was like, okay, I'm never going to let anything stop me. Unfortunately, a year almost to the date of that time that my dad said that, he passed away from lung cancer. And I got my AA time, and his last words were, "He did it. He did it." And that's something that stuck with me and still sticks to me to this day. While I was in college, I was racing against the school. I went to NC State, and I was sick, just like Jordan. And I'm thinking in my head, this is your Jordan moment. I feel awful. And I'm in the bathroom, not to get too gross, and running back to race, then running back to the bathroom. I'm going back and forth. And we had the last race. And if I didn't go essentially my best time, we weren't going to win the whole meet. I get up on the block, running from the bathroom, dive off, go from 6th to 1st, and we win the meet.
Oh my God.
I get out of the pool, and the parents from the opposing team were throwing things at me.
Oh my God.
Because I heard a lot of the N-word. I heard a lot of this. I heard a lot of that.
Oh, Cullen.
And they rushed me. I didn't even get to change in the bathroom. They threw me into, this is 2005. So this, I mean.
Oh my God.
I mean, you would think that this was in the 80s, 90s, 70s, 60s. No.
Yeah, it sounds like a 70s movie. Yeah.
Exactly. They throw me on to the bus. I'm changing in the bus, and I'm laughing. And my coach is like mortified because he's like, "Oh my God, what are you doing? Like, why are you laughing?" And I was like, "I'm laughing because of two things. My dad told me never let him stop me, and I didn't. Second, that was my Jordan moment, and I did it."
I love it.
And so when you talk about like diversity and being a Black person in swimming, I've dealt with a lot. And those are just like two stories that I like to share. There are some worse stories that I went through. But you brought up my son earlier. We were talking, and I look to him and I say, my job now that I'm not swimming anymore is to make sure that he comes into a sport that he says he loves. He loves water. He loves swimming. My job is to try to make sure that he comes into this sport. It looks like this country. It's diverse.
Yes.
He's welcomed so that he doesn't have to feel what I felt.
I think one lesson that everyone can take from your dad is like, let me say this in a nice way. Fuck that when people say know your place.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Like, stop it with the place. That's such a beautiful lesson that your dad's like, that's enough.
Keri, I take that with me to work every day. I take it with me when I sit on board meetings, when I hear something that I don't like. Microaggressions are real, people.
Yep.
For those people that don't think that it's still around, it is. And my biggest thing is like, okay, I can take it, hopefully so that my son doesn't have to.
When you believe in something so much, you're willing to do really whatever it takes to accomplish that thing, whether it's writing a book or, pursuing an Olympic dream or having children, whatever it is. If there's something that's really important to you, you will invest the time and energy and effort that it takes to do it. And so I think this is the power of just Cullen's sort of competitive spirit. He didn't let that stop him from pursuing his goal and continuing to work hard at it, busting out of the box and doing something uniquely his own based on a skill and a talent that he had. And that he's cultivating that in his own child is amazing as well.
I think many of us are propelled to do things in our life that happened to us in childhood, whether we're righting a wrong, whether we're fighting for people, we're doing it because maybe something happened to us in our past. So these are things that I think shape us. I think what makes Cullen stand out so much is people get set down a path, but not everyone wins an Olympic medal for it. But we have been blessed on this podcast for people who have had those tragic things happen and turned around to become an author, a speaker, a lawyer, helping others do that. Cullen's just this fabulous person who did all that and got an Olympic gold. But I think for many of us, we can do the Olympic golds in our own profession. So tell me, Cullen, about why you don't see, at least especially when I was growing up, I'm older than you are, you didn't see Black swimmers. If you keep going back and asking why, it's because of racism and discrimination, that during segregation and even after that, I've read about pools being shut down because Black kids started to go there. And they're like, no,
Yes.
that's okay. We won't have a pool.
Yeah.
And so that was shocking to me. It shouldn't be shocking. But I'm like, well, no wonder we don't see representation, because it started from racism and not allowing Black kids to go into the pool. Is that an accurate statement, Cullen?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I mean, it goes even further back. And so a historian and a dear friend of mine, Bruce Wygo, after 2008, I'd won the gold medal, got a world record, so proud. I come back and he's like, come down to Fort Lauderdale. We're having this event. And I'm like, the International Hall of Fame of Swimming? Oh, I'm ready. I'm being inducted.
Yeah.
No, of course I wasn't. But he brought me down there because he was wanting to show me some of the literature. And I was like, this is amazing. He's like, you're going to be up in this wall because you're a world record holder and you're the first Black American to have a world record. I'm like, thanks. Oh my God, this is amazing. He's like, but I've got something else to show you. He pulled out this book, this old book of illustration. And the illustration showed slaves, African slaves that had just gotten to the colonies at the time, and they were swimming. These were Africans trying to get away from slave masters. They would rather get into the ocean and try to swim to death than to stay in the colonies.
Oh.
So these owners told Black people, you don't swim, you don't swim, you don't swim. And generationally, over 400 years, it is still the narrative in 2024 that Black people don't swim. Not because of a Cullen Jones or Simone Manuel or Maritza Correa, or I can keep going. We have so many Black swimmers, but we still have the narrative, oh, you know, we don't do that. Excuse me? And so when you were talking about back in the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s of segregation, yes, that was a big deal. We had pools that were, okay, white only pool, Black only pool. Which pool do you think was taken care of? It wasn't the Black one.
Right.
We had beaches that were segregated. The ones that were closer to the rocks where it was dangerous, that's the Black one. We have in 1964, the hotel owner that is pouring bleach into the pool because Black people are in the pool. That was something that was sent back to Martin Luther King, who was a swimmer, and was one of the things that was pivotal in the civil rights movement in 1964. Swimming has always been something that the Black culture can do. Trust me, I've been to the Olympics. Team Nigeria, Team South Africa, there's Black swimmers. Not just me, not just me. But I have had people come up to me and being like, oh my God, you're from America? You swim? You're a Black guy? But you're from Team Nigeria. Why is this a shock to you? They're like, but you got out. They literally said to me, but you got out. And I'm like,
but you got out.
Okay. So it's a problem here. It's a problem in the US. And it's something that needs to be changed. And it starts at those gatherings, the family gatherings. It starts with the culture. We have to stop saying we don't swim. I'm going to say this right now. I've got 4 medals, 1 world record. I had the American record. I am a Black male. Get in the pool. Learn to swim. It is a life skill. And stop saying, as my culture, we don't do this. Yes, we do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. First of all, thank you so much for sharing all of that. But I think Kelly and I talk about a lot, how do you break out of these expectations? And some of those expectations are, you don't even realize that your culture is telling you, right? So just like you said, wait a second, why can't we swim? But like, even just being aware that it's such an expectation, like it's all bullshit.
It is so true. I get so many kids that are in the pool. I'm the next Cullen Jones. And it just gives me tears. Like it hits so hard because I didn't start swimming, obviously, I nearly drowned, to be a role model. I never started swimming to do it for that. But it's been something that my name has been put next to Tiger Woods. It's been next to Arthur Ashe. It's been next to Venus and Serena. And I'm so thankful. I'll never forget in 2012, I heard someone yell behind me, "You better go ahead and swim, boy." And I turned around and it's Serena Williams. And I'm like,
stop it.
It was just such an amazing moment. And I'm so thankful that Simone Manuel is lighting that torch and continuing to push that. We have Shane Cassis doing it. We see so many Black swimmers, but we have to change this narrative. And I think it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of years. We know that now because of COVID, CDC is saying that drowning is up actually. And we got to work as a culture. When I say culture, I mean the U.S. culture. And it starts with how we speak and how we are raising our young, for sure.
Kelly, I'm bummed once again when we keep asking the why questions to get back to why is this the way it is? Unfortunately, it's disproportionate. Answer is money and or racism. So that was a real bummer. But that representation, if you don't see yourself, you don't think it's possible. And then you add, I don't see myself, I don't think it's possible. Then you have maybe your family saying, we don't do that either. We don't swim. And then you also have some structural barriers that, oh, well, we don't open the pool to people who look like you. And then you still have, which I think I understood some of the history of racism in swimming, but to hear Cullen talk about it still in the year 2000 in that century, like really, I just think sometimes I can't believe people are that ignorant, but yet I know they still exist. So that just broke my heart. Holy smoke.
There's that part of him that was fueled by the hatred, by the negative comments, and for him to be able to propel through that and for him to be able to overcome those challenges, incredible. Again, that's his immense belief in himself, the supportive family that he has, and just how much he enjoyed being a swimmer. I think it would have been probably very easy for him to just kind of linger into the shadows, and maybe it was a fun hobby, but it wasn't anything more than that. As much as it's a really wonderful story of him getting this gold medal and achieving these amazing things, I personally like it for the FU to that person in the stands who said he doesn't belong in that same pool.
Cullen just said Arthur Ashe, Kelly, Serena Williams, which I know Kelly's like, wouldn't that be one day? Because Kelly did play tennis. She does know the colors of ribbons. I don't know it all. And I know her dream guest besides you, Cullen, would be Serena Williams because she's bananas.
It was a very special moment from her to say that.
Oh,
very
I bet.
special.
I think I'd probably pass out if I heard that. You know, like I think I would legit pass out.
I couldn't pass out. She gave me a hug and I was like, what is happening?
What a tremendous story. And I'm sorry for the adversity that you've had to endure. It's the worst. So you're setting an example for your son and for others in this world. And I love your mom too, for again, believing so much in you and saying, I'm not going to have my child be a child that doesn't swim. So when you think about water safety, Cullen, because you mentioned obviously the incident rate of drowning, how do you approach water safety with your own son? And how does he like water sports or activities?
Oh God, it backfired because I was like, I can't be the advocate for learn to swim and then not have my son learn to swim. And so I'll be honest, I started trying to do it myself. That was a massive failure. I can teach any child, any adult, anywhere. Doesn't matter. My son, Absolutely not. And I'm okay with that. And so when I took Avon to Goldfish, that's when I saw the big shifts in him. Not only did he connect with his teacher immediately, don't get me wrong, he connected with me too, but I'm fun dad and I want to stay fun dad. I was like, I kind of picked up on, you know what? I don't want to be this role for you, honestly. So I trust the teachers. I trust the curriculum. One of the things I tell parents is, would you ever allow your child to play football without pads? And every parent's like, no. Would you let them sit in a car without, a seatbelt? No. Then why would you allow them to go to a pool without having swim lessons? Why would you allow them to go? You think that one lifeguard, which I still am a lifeguard, you think that lifeguard's going to be able to watch 500 kids? No, that is a safety hazard. And the best way to combat that is to get your child to learn how to swim. And so that was the big thing for my son. I saw that he loved the water already. I didn't have He-Man and Thundercats in there with him. He had some other toys, but he was in the tub and he just loved it. And it backfired. I started with that. It backfired because now every day, Daddy, we going swimming? Daddy, we going swimming? Daddy lives at the pool, but yes, let's go swimming.
Aw, you started a monster.
I did.
Yeah. And you were talking a little bit about the wonderful attributes of Goldfish Swim School. For someone who isn't familiar with it, what does the process and the journey look like if you have a child or yourself that wants to join?
Well, Kelly, I am a proud Goldfish dad. To see him, like now I'm going to start crying, because just to see his love for the sport, to see him growing and knock on wood, not to have a negative experience around water. Now my problem is that he's like, Daddy, watch me do this backflip. No, get back here. He's had such an amazing experience that he just loves the water. And I attribute that completely to Goldfish. So I think the care that is put into each facility, no matter where you are, I've gone to so many different, that the curriculum is the same. I just trusted it from the beginning and it did not steer me wrong. My son is still in lessons. He still loves it. And I'm hoping that, there's a swim force. So now that's the step to getting to swim team. So we'll see. We'll see where he goes.
And I think it shows too how when you kind of demystify things and you take the fear out for people, you create an environment where you can feel safe and protected and cared for. And that does help you kind of, even if you do have a fear, work to remove it or at least quell it so that you can really learn and be the best version of yourself in the process. Because as you said, and it's such a great point, that confidence building in a sport or in a pursuit or hobby like swimming can transcend and evolve into so many other parts of their life. So last question for you, Cullen. You have 1 minute with someone who is stuck and they want to break out. What would you tell them?
I think there's two things that I always try to do. And we have cell phones. We have things that are constantly pinging us. But are those things that are constantly pinging us something that's helping you? And so my wallpaper is always my goals, things that I want to see every day. We always talk about putting goals down, write your goals down. But what happens to that? It goes somewhere and you never look at it again. So I think one of the things that when someone gets stuck or they find themselves in a plateau, whether that's in business, whether that's in sport, or whether that's just being a parent, because that happens, make sure that you keep that vision of what you want in front of you at all times. We need to live. I don't like the word diet. I hate it because diet to me means you're going to quit. It just is. How about a lifestyle change? How about we figure out the little things that you can do to make it something that's a course correction for the whole time that you're going to be able to do this? So one of the things that I tell people that are stuck is whatever that goal is, make sure you see it regularly. And then back to those little wins. It's okay. When I look at my career, you can look at Phelps's career too. You can look at anyone at the Olympic level. There's a lot of losses in there. We don't always win. So you have to find the way to stay on the course. And the best way that I've seen amongst all of the elite athletes is we find those little micro wins to keep us going. We have the goal in front of us, and then we are taking baby steps to get to it. It usually does not happen overnight. That's whether you're an athlete, You got to put that work in. So make sure you get those little wins.
Cullen, I just wanted to say, I'm so happy that you joined us today. And not only in this podcast did we get to swear, get to have a history lesson, had some tears, learned about swimming, and then had these amazing life lessons as well. This is everything you want in a podcast.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much.
That was the barrier-busting Olympic gold medalist, Cullen Jones. And this is The Breakout.
Kelly and I are in the business of breaking free, being brave, and living boldly. We're here to inspire you to be the badass you are meant to be. Coaching and consulting is kind of our thing, and we're really good at it. Connect with us at abrachigroup.com.
And don't forget to subscribe to The Breakout so you never miss a new episode. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And please leave us a review. Reviews help more people find the show, connect with us, and live a more authentic life. I'm Kelly Gunther.
And I'm Dr. Keri Ulrich. See you next time.